back to the Genesis Podcast, Episode 2. We got everybody here today. We got Danny, we got Tristan, we got Darren, Ian, Javi, Sam, and Willie. And we're here to talk about some Yu-Gi-Oh! So today, we actually got a really good topic for our first one. What do we think about Crossout, guys? Because I know we've been playing a lot in tournaments, whether online or in person recently. Good or bad? What do you guys think?
Okay.
So you want to start off? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Daniel.
I'll start off. So this weekend I played in 2 locals. And I played Crossout, and I personally think that Crossout's really, really good in like Tri-Brigade and Prank Kids, mainly because they're like 1-card combos. And when you're playing like a bunch of hand traps and a bunch of like, you know, like you can play 1-0s or you can play 2-0s if you really need to. I personally have been playing a bunch of 1-0s with Crossout to test it out, and it's been insane. It's been perfect for me. I haven't like bricked off of it, and I personally think it's really good.
But what have you crossed out though?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tell us the things you've crossed out so far.
Give us a good story.
Here's a couple of them. So I played against this train deck.
Earth Machine, we'll call it.
The dude stopped the Mystic Mine, thought he got me good. On my turn, I activated Crossout on Mystic Mine and I killed him. I played against a Striker player who Twin Twisted me. I banished Twin Twisters from my deck to protect my Revolt and my Imperm, and then again I killed him the next turn. I crossed out a Skullmeister actually, which has been really popular at my locals recently. 1, because it's a cheap like hand trap, and 2, because like a lot of decks at our locals have been utilizing like a lot of graveyard effects. Like even against Dragonling, like it's similar to kind of like DD Crow, right? There's some times where like if you just stop them like very early on, they usually don't have enough gas, especially like all the lists playing like Dragoon and they brick, right? Like one little small thing can like stop them from being able to combo. I've also crossed out a Desires and a Tactics as well. That's been insane. Yeah.
What about you, Tristan?
DIEtron lists that have been playing those Garnets. Sorry, I'll be quick here. The recent DIEtron lists that have been playing those Garnets, they really do stop when you stop one of their cards. That deck is a lot of 2 to 3 card combos. Go ahead, Tristan.
And it's just like with DIEtron, especially, is like you kind of like if you get hand trapped once or twice, like you can't afford to have dead cards, and that's kind of like what I learned this weekend. Because I played Dragoon in my 43-card DIEtron deck, and the issue I had is that like I did draw the Dragoon pieces, and like that's kind of where I think Darren was right. Like like Dragoon is like a dead like engine in my deck. Like it's not really good. Like because like drawing any of the pieces when I got hand trapped twice, like if I just had a little bit more gas, like it would have done it. Now I don't think Crossout Designator would, because then like I'd have to include Crossout Designator and then the hand traps on top of it in the main deck. And so maybe I would have to like just commit to playing more DIEtron names or find a different answer than the answer I tried to use over the weekend. And the thing about Crossout Designator is like, I don't think it's really good unless you are playing, like Danny said, like a mid-range-ish deck or 1 engine deck. But I do see how like that card is still really good in mirrors, because you get to use all your pieces and then you get to cut them off of like a big piece. And I also see that over the weekend at the Extravaganza, my opponent round 4, or round 3, he's playing Tri-Brigade and he full combos me, but I have Droplet, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to just Droplet Appaloosa and you're donezo, bro. And he was just like, nah, you're a bozo, and flips Crossout Designator for Droplet, and I just lose. So I kind of like, I learned how good Droplet was because I got, or not Droplet, Crossout was because I got Crossout.
Right.
So
that's big.
Yeah.
Learned this weekend.
What about you, Darren?
I don't know yet. I think it depends. Like, is Crossout the way or is Talents the way? And I think Talents is hella good when you have 3 broken effects into 1. I think it's good because like you prevent the hand trap from going through, which I think is huge, whereas Talents doesn't. But yeah, I don't know. I think at the bigger tournaments, we haven't seen a lot of it being used, but I think people are picking it up because they know how good the card can be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet. That's my answer.
Yeah, guys, what do we think about talents now? Do we think talents is still worth it when Crossout is now a card?
I'm just gonna say I'm a huge fan of talents. I'm a huge fan of talents because the thing is if you play it right, then they don't interact with you, then you win because you combo them. They have to do something to stop you, and then you have talents. And then you get to kind of pick. Sometimes it's like not necessary when you like if you get to like willingly just pick to look at their hand, like that's kind of unfair too, because sometimes like your hand's like just too good anyway. Yeah. So yeah, talents is still good, and I still think like that and called by is just like insane for hand traps.
I agree. In my list, I'm playing both, but like I maxed out on both talents and Crossout. Well, I would max on Crossout if I had the third, but I was playing 3 talents, and every time I saw it, just like Tristan was saying, the card's just broken. Like it lets you out boards. It's good going first. If you get hand trap, if you don't get hand trap, you still full combo. And I think it's even better in Tri-Brigade because like even if you do like it is a dead drop for whatever reason, you can just put it on bottom with Fergie or with Bear Brum.
But what about like Crossout in like blind mirror matches, right? Because like once you get into like the bigger competitive play, like you'll probably see more mirror matches, right? And then having that main deck Crossout, and even if you go first, you can shut down your opponent's combo because you're playing a mirror match. Right?
It almost works as like a Crossout in that way, or sorry, as a called by in that way.
I was like, yeah, Crossout, duh.
Almost works as a called by in that way, where it's like with called by, like it's so good because if you get to stop a hand trap, you get to stop a hand trap. But if you don't, it's a very viable interruption against a lot of decks. So like when you set it, so.
Yeah.
That's a really cool interaction that if your opponent's playing Crossout, you can banish another Crossout to negate them too.
Yeah, that is cool. I agree.
But I think there's a reason why we haven't seen it in a lot of the other decks, right? Like, I think maybe this might not be the meta for it specifically, and I think like maybe in a more mid-rangey or like control-ish kind of format, we tend to see Crossout Designator take more spots.
Yeah,
because those games will go a lot longer, and there'll be more opportunities to hit cards.
And I think that's OCG. That
OCG, everybody's been playing it too.
Yeah, I mean they also have Maxi though.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why, right? Is because Maxi turns like their formats into mid-range formats, so they focus on like more mid-range. But like when you look at Crossout of like the number that is being played in OCG, I mean I guess it varies from like 2 to 3, but like you don't see talents being played a whole lot. Whereas here, I think because we don't have Maxi, we can afford to play talents. Then we just like use gas to push through. So
I think because like think about it, if you Maxi right, and then you play Crossout Designator, it stops Maxi and you can keep going. But if they Maxi you and then you're like, okay, you drew one, you're like talents, like. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
what effect are you choosing at that point that really furthers your game state?
Yeah, like Maxi like just stopped you, so
yeah.
Willie, you got anything to say about talents or Crossout?
No, like I said, I think it's a good card, but like it's in OCG was played more, so I don't know how it's gonna look in here. It's more combo based. But
yeah, I've also seen OCG playing a lot of like 2-ofs. I don't know if you guys have seen that a lot, but like OCG's like not even playing 3-ofs of like anything. Like it's like strictly like 2-ofs of like literally everything.
2-ofs or even like just 1-of in the main or something.
The only hand traps that they play more of is the Maxi.
Yeah,
but they don't even play Ash.
So that shit's good.
Yeah.
Yo,
we don't have that for a reason. Like.
Yeah, I honestly hope Maxi does not come.
I'm with that. I'm with that energy.
I kind of want it anyways because I have so many.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I have a lot of Maxi stocked up for when it does come back.
This conversation needs to stop. I have ultimates, but that does not mean Maxi should come back.
It should come back because we have ultimates.
We save it for retro formats right now.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. I do play a lot of old formats with my friends, and even in those formats, I find myself gravitating towards decks that can play Maxi and not just like brick on it. And dude, I dominate so many games on the back of Maxi just being Vanity's emptiness. Like it's just like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, oh, you can't kill me? I'll drop Max C. Okay, cool. Pass turn. All right, I'll play again.
Should have never been around, bro.
Yeah, like it's seriously, what a weird card design. Yeah.
So many free tops because of Maxi.
Well,
like imagine like Zoo when there was one and like the guy that drew one of like just mirror match.
Yeah.
you want to take the Maxi challenge when there's like fusion sub?
Yo, it's crazy when people take Max C challenge. It's like, bro, why? You're gonna lose. Unless you're decking me out, you're losing.
you know, I won one game where I took the Maxi challenge, and you know what it was? I was playing Infernity FTK. Yep. And I didn't even FTK him because he ogred my Amazon Archer, but I just decked him out.
I love decking people out.
I remember I Maxied my opponent, and I'm playing Blue Eyes, and I was like, Maxi, bro, and then he was just like Colossal Fighter Cramshin and Blue Eyes, break it back, and I loot me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I learned that day that I was screwed.
I learned a horrible lesson.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yo, I mean, just barely enough life.
Bro, I didn't see it coming. He made Colossal Fighter, and I just laughed. I was like, okay, that's nice, bro. Like, and then he's like, you lose. Like, I'm moving your deck, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, I can't crow? He's like, no, bro, that's damage step. I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, god damn. Yeah. Well, speaking of Crow, a winged beast monster, let's talk about Tri-Brigade. What do we think about Tri-Brigade? Is it still the most represented deck, and what have you guys seen playing a lot of? Because I know there's like Tri-Brigade Zoo might still be a thing. I know Rescue Cat was talking about, and maybe even the Melfi monsters.
Melfi Tri.
Yeah.
So looking over the deck list over the weekend, there was a money match between Triff and Paolo. And Paolo was playing the Melfi version of Tri-Brigade, and he's been praising that deck ever since it came out. He's been saying, like, Melfi Tri-Brigade is the best version. Like, you get to, like, pop 2 cards, and you get to, like, revolt, and you get to, like, cycle through your deck to be able to, like, draw and put it on bottom. So even if you draw, like, the Kalantosa, like, you can still put it on bottom. He's saying it's not that bricky, but I don't know. You still have 3 bricks in your deck. Yes, you do have the Tri-Brigade engine to, like, draw and put them on the bottom. But, like, if you're drawing, like, the wrong ones, right? Like, you're not going to be able to access that.
Who says you'll be able to even play to begin with?
Exactly.
All these, air quotes, bad cards.
Yeah, and I think it's more of like a blowout. Like, if you're like playing like the Melfi version and like you don't have Fractal, right? And you just have like a subpar like hand, and you get Ash on like Schooled, right? Like, yeah, it's a good Ash target. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, it's like one of your biggest power plays. But even if you like play like regular Tri-Brigade and they're ashing you early, then it's worth it, I guess. But I don't know. I just think the extra deck room for that deck is like so tight too, and I feel like that version loses a lot more to Nibiru as well.
Would it play Crossout?
I don't think he was, if I remember correctly. But
interesting.
Yeah, and like the Zoo version's still kind of popular. I know Tristan and Landon have been playing in a lot of like money matches, and they've played against a couple of them. And I know like the Zoo version's still good because like your follow up, like if you have access to being able to search for, like level 4, for example, with Omen, like you search like a Zoo, or if you have like whatever follow up with the Zoo monster, like it's the best, right? Because like even if there's a Dragoon, you're making a Zeus and outing it, or like a board, and if they just have one imperm, like it's not going to be enough for it. But I still don't think it's that good. Like Tenki getting hit to 1 made it so that you can't really see that many Zoo monsters, and then Barrage Ban too, like you don't get to see them as easily as you used to.
Right.
So I personally like the pure list, which is the list that I've been playing, but I play like Ready Fusion and Instant Fusion with Flower Wolf and the Tri-Brigade quick play spell that is a E-Telly for the deck, with all the Crossout targets. And I feel like that the reason why I think that version's good is because it lets you play around hand traps on top of being able to have extenders if you do get like again hand trapped. But it also lets you kill your opponent the next turn a lot easier than like the combo like Tri-Brigade would be. And it doesn't play into Nibiru as much.
That's fair.
For sure.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like this whole debate of like best deck again, and I know we're not going to get
Oh my
into that again
God.
this week, but
Yeah.
but we won't
it's
get
not the
into
best.
it.
It's not the best deck right now. We're just talking about like, what do you think
Yeah,
is the best version
it's
of Tri-Brigade?
the best version of it. I think is to get to because we're going to see so many different like versions of it coming out. Like we'll have like in Burst of Destiny, like we'll have a new version. I think as of right now, it's undefined what the best version is. I think the engine is still good. I was just actually while we were talking, I realized that they posted like the Sebastian Todd ended up posting his list from the extravaganza. So like the finals was Dragonling versus Drytron. Yeah, Drytron. So I was able to just, Xu Ping against Sebastian, and Sebastian won. So I was just looking at his list right now too for Dragon Link, and it was just interesting. I think those two like definitely are like strong decks. And then you have Tri-Brigade too, but yeah, I think like Tri-Brigade is going to constantly evolve. So I think the ones that were already listed were definitely some of the ones that are being seen or played more.
Yeah, I think definitely the most represented is definitely the Melfi version. Like even in like the Colorado tournaments, like it actually won the Colorado tournament for what was it the Megaton tourney?
Malfi or the Obedient School. I think the Obedient School is seeing a lot of play too. So Obedient School is, I think that's actually the most seen play right now, is the Obedient School one. Second, followed by Malfi.
For those that don't know, can you guys explain a little bit of what the Tri-Brigade Melfi deck plans to do on its turn one?
Yeah, so you want me? Okay, so they play Obedient Schools. They'll summon out 3 cards, which includes the Melfi puppy, and that's why we always say Melfi Tri-Brigade or whatever. But pretty much what they do is they're able to go into their Bergy, and then they'll Bergy, and then they'll summon out they'll summon out a Tri-Brigade, they'll banish 2, they'll summon the other beast, which is the Bear Broom. They link into another Bergy because Obedient School locks them into beasts. Okay, and then after that, they overlay it for this this Xyz. I don't know the Xyz's name. Sorry, I don't read cards. I just know.
I think it's called Joyous Melfies.
Yeah, and what this card does is pretty much like it lets you tag out for the one of the cards you Obedient School, the Popper, and then like also like the follow up. So it's like really it gives you a lot of plays on the follow up to like play back. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay.
And it also gives you Revolt. The pop, it's kind of like a mini Trident in a way, but it also gives you bodies and follow up, which is nice. And
the Xyz lets you like special summon the Melfi and Calantosa, so you're able to Calantosa pop, and then the puppy bounces to special summon another Calantosa, which lets you pop again.
Yeah, so it gives you 2 pops.
And I just realized too. So like the Melfi version is playing Obedient School in it because like you just mix them. So like there was one in top 8 of the extravaganza, and then one made the top 4. So it's like a Melfi Obedient School combined with Rescue Cat as well. So like you just combine them all.
So this is what I'm gonna say about Tri-Brigade is that there's multiple the versions is like there's the zoo with the original, but people are mixing Rescue Cat in with that. And so now you're kind of seeing sometimes they're playing 2 cat with like 2 zoos, just so that way they don't overclog on normal summons. And it's just like the deck still only has the 2 summons per turn, but it's like it gives them a kind of a variety of options now. Kind of
but then the Malfi one and the Malfi version of it, like they have the Obedient School normal summon Kuraz.
Yeah, but
Rescue Cat.
And the reason why I'm not a fan of that version is because when you go second, Obedient School is not cracking any boards, you know what I mean? Like, it's not doing anything into that. And that's why like I'm not a fan of it. I understand why people are, because it does give you a lot, like especially if you play against trap decks, like that gives you so much gas.
Yeah.
Like for
one
a long
card, 3 monsters.
Yeah, you get 3 monsters, you get 2 pops, you get like it's really
you get a full graveyard. Like
I think that this is like the first time that the Tri-Brigade deck has had its ceiling as high as it is with this Melfi deck. Like their board is like insane at the end of it. Like
but that's what I'm saying though. Like I prefer the other board. Like I prefer Appaloosa and Revolt. You know what I mean? Because my thing is it against combo decks, which are like the best decks that Tri-Brigade's trying to beat. Right, I'd rather have an Appaloosa because Appaloosa exchange well with their effects, and you have Revolt, and then you have the hand trapped on top of whatever you draw. So, and that's how you usually win, is because like you just simplify the game, and then since you don't take so much to go back off, you can either kill them, like clap them, like it doesn't matter. And that's
I
why
think just to kind of like sum it up is that at least from what I've seen just right now is it's Melfi, Tri, Obedient School, Rescue Cat. That's your version that you're playing all in one. That's your like most popular one.
Yeah, and I think it's the next set of post boat. The Tri-Brigade will evolve into the Leerless version because the new Leerless Link Xyz, it bounces and it's not once per turn. So you can stack like 3 on that, and then you can just on top of the Appaloosa, you can just bounce 3 cards.
Yeah.
So,
God damn.
And I also don't think they're going to be playing Obedient School because I'm pretty sure pretty much every deck in the format is going to be playing Phoenix Enforcer.
Yeah, true.
So like, if you're going to play Obedient School, you can't Phoenix Enforcer.
That card is broken.
Yeah, Verde plus Phoenix Enforcer, and just playing like 3 of the Fusion Destiny, just because you can just do it after you full combo, because that's how broken it is.
It's not going in my deck. I got this first Ed Dasher that's not going in my deck now, bro. I learned, bro. I'm not putting it in the Dark Magician and Red Eyes again, bro.
Listen, this is a better Garnet, though.
Bro, I differ in opinion. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna go in every deck.
I'm not putting it in my deck, bro.
All right, play Malice then.
Bro, if I was playing Heroes, hell yeah, bro. Tell me again, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for that card. Hopefully, oh my god. Okay, so like, I want that destroyed Phoenix Enforcer. What?
We know it's a secret.
No, I want it to be a Starlight, but at the same time, I don't want it to be a Starlight.
I do, bro.
Yeah, dude. I'm so with you on that, Tien.
Like I want it to be Starlight because it'll look fucking beautiful.
So
but
amazing.
I don't want it to be Starlight because I know I'm gonna want 3 of them.
Yeah, so
Yeah, they gotta have a fucking playset, bro. What the? I play Heroes, dog. What the?
This is Tien we're talking about. This Tien.
Yo, I have 12 OT Dark Laws, bro.
Yeah,
like,
he's rich. Okay.
I'm not rich. I'm only cardboard rich.
Still rich.
Yeah, that's rich.
No. Just spray my room with a hose and like another room with the hose, and I'm done. My life's over.
All this electronics and fucking cards. Oh,
Yo, true. Fuck.
That's tough.
Yeah, what's the next topic?
But speaking of like the whole extravaganza, like Dragonlings, thoughts on Dragonlings?
Okay.
Darren, all right,
I think we should have
Mr.
Darren start off.
Yeah,
on this.
second place.
I think we're gonna make more once the cards get reprinted. Like Chamber's gonna get reprinted, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that I know everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, it's the best deck." It's like I'm not just saying it. It's like, in my opinion of this format, yeah, it is. It is. Like, I just think like the deck is so strong.
Let him know.
I think people are playing the deck wrong, though. That's my opinion of it. I think Sebastian, like I saw Sebastian's list right now. I like how he put in the black metal and the red MD. He wasn't playing Gamma. He was playing like Valors, Nibs, Ash, Valor. He was playing 3 Valor, and then he put Rivalry in his side. So like, Rivalry is probably something that we're gonna start seeing again that pops up because Tri-Brigade is so popular and all that. I still think people are playing like this deck too slow. I think like this deck has a lot of power, and then like a lot of times, so like after the YCS, I think there was like this like misconception that this deck is just supposed to go seal pass for some reason, and I hate that. I don't think that's true at all, and I just think like people are optimizing this deck to what it can actually do. So I don't know. I was gonna reveal my list, but now I'm gonna hold it. I think just because just because like some changes and stuff. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with the deck moving forward.
So Darren thinking it's the best deck. Tristan, do you also think Dragonling's best deck right now?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So listen, bro. I'm so done with DIEtron. And let me tell you,
What is it, DIEtron now? No more Wetron?
Wait, yeah, DIEtron? Oh god.
bro, so
What happened to Wetron, bro?
So listen, so you already heard the first story about my
Wetron.
droplet getting fucking cross-outed for my life. So let me tell you what happened the next game after that, bro. He hand traps me twice. I have to pass. I go Lancia against the same Tri-Brigade guy, and he just goes called by Fractal, and I was like, yo, I'm like, no cap, I'm dead. He full combos me, Sat go, and I'm like, draw, and he's like, revolt, and I'm just like, oh. I'm done.
I think this is like really important to note too, is that like when you look at decks like DIEtron, when you look at like Dragonling, I mean, Supine did really well, and I watched his profile or him on Twitch, and he didn't talk about the deck. I think like what it comes down to is I was listening to Hoban's interview when he came back, and it was really interesting hearing him talk about, like, I think like people discredit him saying that, oh, the Hoban theory is gone and whatnot, but it was really like insightful to hear him talk about why he chose Dragonlink as the deck. And I think the reason is that like, and then I also listened to Sebastian too, who won the extravaganza, is like you want to play cards that like generate advantage in your hand and still do something on the field. Whereas with like DIEtron, and like Tristan and I had this debate about Dragoon, and like I know you guys are talking about Phoenix Enforcer, and I'll be straight up and say it, I'm not playing that card. I don't see myself playing that card unless like something like extreme happens and it's like the god of the god. But like I would rather just have cards that allow me to continue to play than, you know, oh, this is my backup plan, I'm just going to make this one Phoenix Enforcer and pray to the lords that it somehow stays, right? Or I have another turn. So like Hoban was talking about like this whole theory about like why Dragonlink is good, and like when you look at the cards, you have like Noctovision replaces itself and draws a card, Chamber gets a trap, Black Metal gets Red MD, Chaos Space gets white black, draws you a card, generates like +2, I think it is, right? At the end of it, +1, +2. Yeah. Like when you look at all the cards that like are used in the Dragonlink deck, they all replace themselves, and like you're generating a lot of cards in hand while also having them on the field. And I think that's why it's really important to shuffling your red eyes.
Nice hand, Tristan.
Yeah, nice hand. So that's where I think it's like really, really important. And I think, like I was saying, like about Dragonlink, I will say this. I know I'm not going to share my list, but I think people need to find more cards that are not pseudo, but that are extenders and starters together. So like when you're looking for cards to play in your deck or in your deck building, try thinking of cards that like have multiple purposes rather than just one purpose. Because like when you have like a starter that's also an extender, those are like the type of cards that I think are really good and like Yu-Gi-Oh to be playing. So like that's what we should like, that's what players should be looking for when they're playing or like choosing certain cards. I know people have asked me about like the Dragonling strategy or like what I'm planning on doing with my deck. Just look through the database and see what cards they have available to them. And like DIEtron, so if you actually look at the DIEtron list that Shu put on and he came second place with, he didn't play Dragoons, which I told Tristan was also wrong because I don't think that's the way to go. But he played pre-prep and prep. And the reason he did that again, because you want to have cards in hand, you want to have cards on the field, and he actually mitigated it so that even if he doesn't draw a DIEtron hand, he can play fairy hand. And like he's just playing through with fairies, so he's not like being like, oh, I didn't draw 2 DIEtrons, I can't combo off with this hand, right? So it's like thinking about like different ways to play your deck rather than like if you really want to like get ahead in this game, think outside the box, not too crazy or not too wild, but like think about like your deck's weaknesses and then think about like how you can like complement those weaknesses with like potential cards that fulfill multiple roles. That's what I would say.
I totally agree with you on that. Do you think do you think Rivalry is a card that will make the cut as we continue to navigate this format?
I don't think moving forward it will. I think if people are doing like this obedience schooled version, because like I think they're all beast anyways, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're all beast. So I think Rivalry becomes like less good. I think that card is probably gonna see like less play. I think something like maybe Gozen could start seeing a little bit more play. I know there's like 3 flex spots in the Dragonlink side deck that you could like put in a Floodgate if you wanted to. So I don't think moving forward Rivalry will see, but maybe with the Lyralist one, then maybe yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other weird cards are, or other random cards are seeing play now?
I think you saw like this weekend, you saw a lot of back row hate because Altergeist has randomly been doing well, and then you have like these like weird.
It's like the new Gladiator beasts. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, it was weird because at the end of the old format, it won in England or like UK, and then it ended up winning post after too, and you're like, what? Like, what's going on? So
it feels like one of those decks that is so inevitable, you know, especially with all its cards back at 3.
Exactly.
Even though it is a hard trap deck, it can just get lucky and make a top, and you kind of just have to not dismiss it.
Yeah, no, I feel the exact same way too, and I think that deck just isn't. I mean, I don't think it's not that it's not good. I just don't think that it's as great as its outcomes have been. But that's also because they knew. I think at the end of that format, they knew what the format was going to be like, so they catered their cards into beating it, and then started the new format. They just kind of it was the same format, so they just did the exact same. So, yeah, pretty good.
So the price of cards recently has actually changed quite a lot because of the tins, of course. The tins really affecting things. And then also we have this new structure deck coming out for Cyber Dragons, which contains Imperm. I think we have that confirmed. We have that confirmed, right?
Yeah. It's super rare in the structure deck. And
it's a super rare.
Yeah, it's a super rare in the structure deck. Yeah,
that's
the Regeki treatment. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we think about that?
It's great.
No, I think.
I guess nobody would say it's bad, right?
Well, I think now we're gonna. It's kind of like when like Skullmaster got reprinted, right? Like we're gonna see, or like when Ash got reprinted, we're gonna see a lot more players who didn't have access to these hand traps start playing them because now it's a budget option.
Interesting.
So you're gonna see a lot more players start playing like Imperm. So like I don't know if that makes Talents any less good, right?
I don't think so.
The only difference from the Cyber Strike structure deck and then the Salad one is that Salad was a competitive deck.
Yeah.
Actually, you buy 3 build Salad.
Yeah, I don't even know how good the Cyber Strike is going to be, if it's going to be even tier 2 at all. I haven't tested it yet, so I can't really say much about it.
I think it's the same on the Cyber Darks.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I think if it focused more on these Cyber Dragons, it would definitely have an impact on the meta, because Cyber Dragons has always been a locals threat kind of deck. You see it and you're you're not totally in the clear, but it's probably a free matchup.
Joey.
Yeah, dude, Joey's a savage with that deck.
I actually played him today in the finals. I 2-0'd him though.
I bet you did. Wow, you 2-0'd him.
Yeah, bro, Crossout Skullmaster.
Yeah,
are we gonna see Cyber Dragon versus Elemental Heroes in the finals of the locals? Oh my god!
Maybe at the next Ace tournament again.
Oh
no! Don't find out next week.
Don't tell me that.
Exactly.
You gotta do it, fool.
Man, that requires me to play. I don't want to play.
I don't. But when you look at Imperm and you look at the decks right now, obviously the decks are gonna change, but I think when Burst of Destiny comes out, Imperm isn't seeing a whole lot of play right now because it's just such a low impact hand trap. I mean, it's nice to have, but it's not.
But draw points.
I think it's good because it also turns off Floodgate.
Yeah, well, if you can get that second effect, yeah. I remember when I played Sky Striker and there was Imperial Order up, and you would have Imperm. Sure, you try to live a turn and you try to see, but I think Imperm isn't saying that much. I mean, in Dragonlink you would play Valor instead because you can Chaos Ruler, it's a light. In DIEtron you don't play it because it's low impact. In Tri-Brigade you play it. Virtual
I'm
world,
sure
maybe,
you
maybe
remember
not.
a lot about the second effective imperm, wouldn't you, Darren? A certain tournament comes to mind.
Shifting, yeah, okay, I know. So yeah, it's pretty funny, but yeah, no, Imperm's an interesting card. I'm glad it's getting the reprint, but I'll be honest, I haven't played that card in like over a year. I'm pretty sure I haven't played that card, so.
I played for Crossout.
Yeah,
I definitely play that card.
It's definitely not a card you'd want to draw with no other hand. Like you would not feel safe in that situation.
You do not, yeah.
Then maybe you should learn how to imperm better, baby. Imperm best hand trap.
What are you gonna imperm, Tri-Brigade?
Oh.
Yeah, dude. It's
Better
like,
have it.
Better have it.
You better have it.
Yeah, just like you better have the called by for the Lancia.
well, it's something interesting Danny just said about Crossout, that he puts imperm for Crossout. So I was thinking about that, and I actually, so when I played or tested Crossout, and maybe people have different opinions, so like even in the chat, but I actually don't put in low impact hand traps. I only do the high ones. So for me, I only do Nibiru. I don't care about Ash because I feel like those are like easy to play through. So for me in my Dragonling deck, I do Nibiru, Lancia, Droll, and that's it. Like I only do those because like those are the ones that like are the most impactful. So like I don't do things like Valor, Imperm, etc.
Yeah, and like I 100% agree with you, but it's because you're playing Dragonlink and I'm playing Tri-Brigade.
Yeah,
that's like super high impact for my deck compared to your deck.
Absolutely,
like,
absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like Tristan has something to say about that.
No, no, it's nothing to do with you guys. It's just
okay.
I just wanted to hear that from Darren.
Oh.
Hear what?
Nothing. We're good.
As Tristan is building Dragonlink in the background.
He's switching right now.
Did we not ignore this?
Some nice chaos spaces, Tristan.
I know my boy Danny. My boy Danny traded me for some flights. It was so worth it.
Oh my god.
Sponsor your teammates, y'all.
All right, so back to the question Sammer asked about the prices. Yo, Crossout Designator used to be 100. People bought him at 120 at one point.
I saw people buy it for 150.
Yes.
150.
Tom was telling me that there was somebody that bought a playset for 300 each.
Yeah, yes. I was there. Someone did buy a playset, $300 for that locals tournament. Yeah,
Wow.
100. No, 300 for the set.
Okay.
Oh, 300 for a set.
Yeah.
So I'm not
gonna lie.
No, 100
That's what I was gonna say,
100 per
300
copy.
For the copy, that's insane.
No.
Like I don't think anybody reasonable would say that.
300 at release wasn't bad. Yeah, 300 at release definitely wasn't bad.
This was last
Saturday.
Tuesday.
Last
like 3 days after the tins came out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think if you're looking, if you're looking for singles,
it was
maybe.
just the locals though.
Yeah, player who shall not be named.
Yeah, we won't expose anyone.
I'm just gonna say I had crossouts, but like I also didn't plan to move them. I thought I was honestly on the uphill because I was like, I got mine for hundreds. I saw him at 150, and I was like, you're all fucked.
And now he's like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now they're at like the low
They're
end
like
is like
80,
75
right?
and roughly like 80
Yeah,
for like
80
verified. Yeah. So
After
like,
a Google, I've got
Surprise,
80
surprise.
on the cheapest.
yeah, I mean,
But I think the card will fluctuate, like as the format changes. Again, I think OCG likes it because they have Maxi and everything is mid-range, so maybe that's why they like it more. I don't know if this card will see play or not, but I think if it does, it could have like a Dragoon effect where Dragoon is a 1 of, this is like a 3 of, so 2 to 3 of.
Once you start being out of rotation, then
I mean, we kind of like figured it'd end up around like 80 though.
Yeah,
And I don't think it's
I
getting
will
reprinted
say,
anytime soon.
I will say that I think Crossout's more impactful out of locals that you know like what your player base is going to be, because then you can like specifically play it for that locals because you're gonna know what matchup you're gonna play against all the time, right?
Yeah.
So like it's like one of those cards that's insane at locals, but when you go to like a high impact event, right, then it becomes a meta call, which is like the same thing you're doing at locals, but it's going to be way harder to judge like 300 players and who you're going to play than like going to the locals with like, I don't know, like 8 to 24 players, however many you have, right? Because like if I know like my meta is like nothing but mirror matches, like I'm playing 3, but like if you're going to high event, right, you see like all these different decks. You see like DIEtron, you see Dragonlink, you see Tri-Brigade, and Virtual World, which I kind of want to talk about too.
I think other than Crossout, to be honest, I think the reason why Crossout isn't going to see play is because Talents is just better. And Talents is more diverse and you don't have to like play AK bricks or anything like that. So Talents is the way to go in my opinion for now.
And it's also like half the price.
That's also true.
Like I think they're around like 35, 40 right now from the 10. I don't know how much secrets are, but
yeah, if people are watching this, then pick up your talents now and drop those crossouts.
Yeah, because like you're still gonna need talents. Like
for sure.
And talents are what, 38s right now for the ultras?
Yeah,
like,
they're very cheap. They're very cheap.
How much are the secrets?
Oh my gosh, guys.
you want to know the secrets?
I need your
Yeah,
guys'
I'm looking it up right
USD prices. I need your USD prices. I'm tired of CAD. Oh my gosh.
now. Bro,
When we
like,
fly to Colorado, we got
You're
you.
50 CAD, bro.
yo, secret talents are around like 90 to 100 right now.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, secret talents is 90 to 100.
Bro, I have an extra playset. What?
Swap me.
Yeah, saw me from my ultra full.
Yeah, foo.
So what were we going to talk about next then?
I think actually we're going to talk about Virtual World. What do you
Yes,
think
sir.
about that, Danny?
Okay, so before we start off on like everything Virtual World, I want to start off with a list that Pono, one of our teammates, actually came on to me earlier and was telling me about. And this list in Virtual World was playing no hand traps. And I was playing 3 Mystic Mine, 3 Dark Ruler, and 3 Talents in the list. Which I personally think is very good, because if you think about Mystic Mine and Virtual World, right, like you can pop it with your trap card. You never deck out because you could always shuffle back with Chuche. You have Nian to shuffle a bunch of cards back. Like it's just, I personally think Mystic Mine and Virtual World's insane. Like like once he told me about it, I was like, that seems really smart. But like then you like Darren was saying earlier, like everybody's playing back row hate because of Altergeist. So maybe it wasn't the smartest meta call, because people are still gonna say twin for like Virtual World, because you still need to pop the Chuche to out it. There's also like, you know, a lot of them are playing Imperm, and a lot of people are playing like Droplet. Like you're still gonna see those cards against you. So was it smart for that specific event that Virtual list played? Probably, because people weren't all the way informed with like the meta, right? So that was like a good meta call, and it's really smart. But like game 2 and 3, like it's gonna be really hard for you to like pull that off, you know? Like it's a game 1 thing that's really good, but later on it might not do the same.
True.
And I think the biggest thing, you can't play those cards because DIEtron is still a deck. That's the only reason. You can't, because like DIEtron just has like Tune and Negate, so like you can't play things like Mystic Mine, Dark Ruler maybe, but I don't know. Like I just don't think like you can play. I think you have to play Heavy Hand Trap because DIEtron is still a deck. I think that's like the biggest thing, and I think like that Virtual World strategy it sounds nice in theory, but again, yeah, like I think you have to play hand traps right now because of, again, DIEtron just being the deck that it is, that it just sets up like a Herald of Perfection or Ultimateness, whichever one people are choosing to play. I think Perfection is probably the more popular one now. But yeah, no, I think it's interesting, but like if I were to go to like a bigger tournament, wouldn't do it. Yeah. So yeah.
All right, but what do we think about all the PK lists that have been popping up?
I think that deck's good.
Yeah.
Okay, for real. Like I think that deck. And I wouldn't say like it's better than Dragonlink or DIEtron or like that, but like it's good for what it does. You know what I mean? Like,
he didn't say it's the best, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not the best.
It's not the best, but I think it's a good like 1.5.
1.5, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good 1.5 deck. I also like that deck had like, if you don't clap them like back, like they actually have like a lot of follow up, like insane amount of follow up in their graveyard. So
I think Lancey just kills them though. I think Lancey just kills them. I think the deck is like okay. Like I think Virtual World and PK I kind of like put together into like one deck, and I know Virtual World is a lot better and gets higher representation and whatnot, right? Blah blah blah. But I just don't see Virtual World, like I find it too inconsistent, and I find the same thing with the PK deck. It's inconsistent.
I don't think it's inconsistent because it's very like the way the deck's built is very. I've done a couple like I've tried playing the deck. And it's very minimal. It's just any 2 level 3s really is very.
It is, but I think the rest of your hand is like because like people are playing the Dragoon package, then you have Fog Blade, then you have I don't know if people are playing the other Break Sword. It's not Break Sword. What is it called?
It's the sword though. I know which one.
Yeah, the sword. Whatever the sword is.
The other trap
like
that acts as an extender.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and like I know some people choose not to play that. I just think that deck is too filled with bricks, and like. That's where like Tristan and I were having this discussion about Dragoon. If you do a long-term, he's making me laugh. If you do like a long-term tourney, like if you do like 11-round tourney, you're gonna notice your inconsistencies come up so much in decks like PK, Virtual World, anything Dragoon related. I think
and
too.
The other thing about the PK deck and Virtual World is that since Fafnir is also being played back into the DIEtron deck, Fafnir really messes them up. Because the level manipulation is really huge.
Interesting.
And so seeing that being put back into decks, if you're a DIEtron player and you didn't know that, well, just know Fafnir is an extra interaction against those decks.
It's like knowing this.
And that's why like I'm not a big fan of the PK deck right now. I think the PK deck is good for what it is. It's like a 1.5. It's up there. It has the same issues kind of as Virtual World because like it doesn't play through hand traps as well though. Well. And so
exactly
that's why I have it where I have it.
Yeah, and I do like that a lot of these like PK lists are also playing like Utopic Future, and like just abusing like Levier and then making like the PK and then just going into like the Utopic Future with just gives you so much advantage because you're able to just fill up your graveyard for next turn. You have like 2 to 3 names, like it's so
much
good.
Follow up.
Yeah,
for sure. Speaking of Virtual World and PK, both decks that do really good with E-Telly. What do we think about that card going to 2? Do we think it's only good in those 2 decks, or
I just
can
don't.
we see it being played in others?
I just don't see it played in others unless like they need like a psychic extender or something like. I don't know. Like E-Telling out Ghost Ogre doesn't seem like. I think Ghost Ogre will be really good when Bode comes out. Because there's a lot more cards that Ghost Ogre will hit, so just so you know, like I'm a Ghost Ogre enthusiast. Okay, like that card definitely I think can come back post Bode into your sideboard, but yeah, I just don't see like why I would ever want to Ghost Ogre out like an E-Telly out of Ghost Ogre or like E-Telly. Like I get in Virtual World you want to summon Nyan, you like that's nice, like or Lulu, but other than that, I don't. I think it could go back to 3.
Yeah. So this is kind of weird and like still on the same topic of E-Telly, but so at the Colorado tournament, E-Telly actually boosted this really crazy rogue deck because a lot of people don't know, and the deck's called Mutants.
Oh yeah, Mutants. Yep.
And
I think it's a really good support coming out.
Yeah, and so they're getting new support, and the E-Telly target is actually one of the Mutant level 3s. That's an extender in the deck. So it saw a lot of play at this tournament. I think it took up 2 spots in top 8. I think. Which is crazy because like nobody knows about the deck, and it topped like 200 something players.
I honestly don't think that deck is very good. It reminds me of Cosmo back in the day.
Yeah.
It plays very much like it as a lot of untargetable big beefy dudes that you don't want to draw, and then it has ways to put them back, and then has small tiny psychic guys that tag out into them under conditions. It just has so many similarities.
My body.
Hobby's going crazy over here. He just learned about this, but
I need to pick up the mutant core.
Yeah, right. Shit, I kept one from when I first read the case.
I read the new card, the new mutant, and it actually makes that deck a lot better because now you can set up 2 of the
boss monsters.
two of the boss monsters consistently, and that gives you 2 interruptions. I don't think they're negates. I think one of them is a negate, and the other 2 do something. I don't know.
Is it pure interact? Is this like pure, or is it like Thunder Dragon mix? Like
no, it's pure.
No.
It's pure.
Yeah, it's more pure. I'd say it doesn't really mix with... Yeah, no, because they have to banish mutant cards to activate their effects. So
yeah,
they definitely just don't work with Thunders. But
I know, like before when they first came out, people were playing them with Thunder. This is
yeah, because of like alerts and stuff. Just
there was like something.
Maybe I am wrong. Maybe they can banish Thunders. I'm not sure. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
There was something, yeah. I don't know.
I think they were just using it
for
utility.
Without Colossus, I don't know if it really matters either way.
Also, the reason why I will say the reason why the mutant did so well is because every time it was on stream, they always drew D-Shifter.
Yeah, D-Shifter is so good in that deck.
Like, then you can say
Lee D-Shifter is just...
But the other thing that gives them is no one knows how to interact with their deck.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's hard to interact when all your cards get banished. Like, then you might as well say Madolce is like tier 0.
Don't tell that to Ed. Don't tell that to Ed.
Yeah.
Don't tell that to Ed.
Like, Madolce is like tier 0. Yeah.
I love banishing
cards
with Dark Claw.
I'd like to take this moment here to shout out our partners, Celestial Gaming and Imperium Duelist. If you are looking for any cards, please visit Celestial Gaming on TCG Player and Matt and sleeves as well, Imperium.com, and use code Genesis at checkout. I don't know if we have a code. Do we have a code?
I like their
I actually don't remember if we still do. We'll have to double check on that.
Yeah. All right. Well, don't try and use a code, but we'll get you a code by next episode. Next episode, we got you.
We'll probably get it on the description.
Okay. In the Tapas channel, we have Wetron or DIEtron. Can someone explain that for me?
Oh, come on.
So we put this together. We were talking about coming up with like an agenda type of thing. And I originally put Wetron or Drytron, right? And then Tristan's like, no, this deck's dead. Like, don't play it. Just put DIEtron on there. And I was like,
oh no. It's DIEtron because you got to fucking win the roll because you're never playing through more than 2 or 3 hand traps unless their hand traps are fucking suck dick. Like, all I got to know, this is all I got to say. Like, my experience this weekend was just hand trap, pass, fractal, or hand trap, chaos space, dump abs surrounder. And I'm just like, okay, like, what do you want me to do?
Space abs is so good.
Like,
it's such a good interaction.
It's just, I don't know. Like, my issue with DIEtron is like, it's either like I said, it's like no hand trap. So it's either like it's gas or like it's cheeks. Like, I don't know.
Then what do you have to say about Shu Pings?
I think he attacked the deck at a different angle, which was really good because what he did is that he was like, I don't have to draw DIEtrons to put up negates. I just have to do prep or like draw fairies. Like, I think what he was because it was, I wouldn't say different, but what he did was different than what everyone else has been doing, and it gave him an advantage too because if he didn't DIEtrons, he had other variety of options, and he didn't play Dragoon, which I also regret because I thought like since upping my deck count would have like helped the variance, which it did. It did not. Like I drew at least one of the pieces every match, and sometimes twice a match, and it was just like very. And when you're going through hand traps, when you're trying to play through things, you can't afford to have the dead piece because I also can't just willingly get rid of it because maybe if I play through enough, I can set up the Dragoon to kill them. So it was rough.
I think there's a misconception that people have when they're upping their count, and I think it's really important because based on it's like if you up your count, but you up your count by playing bricks, that's not really like doing a whole lot because you're just adding like more bricks on top of, and this is what Tristan and I were saying before, right? Like if you're gonna up your count, you're upping your, so like when you look at Jesse Cotton's Thunder Dragon deck, right? That wasn't adding bricks, those were adding like extenders into his deck to diversify it, right? So like his Thunder Dragon cards would mix well with other cards like Dotscaper and things like that. but like he wasn't doing it to like put in cards like Dragoon, or not Dragoon, like Red Eyes and Dark Magician and Red Eyes Fusion. Like I think those are like the biggest things that people are having like misconceptions about, right? Just because you play like 60 cards, that doesn't mean you're not going to brick on a Red Eyes. Or and then like people will be like, oh, I drew my bricks. Yeah, because you're playing them. Like, what do you expect, right? If you're playing 60 cards and you're playing like, yeah, if you're playing like a good spread of cards, then that's a different story, right? Like, because I thought that when I played Dragonling before, I would be like, oh, play 50 cards and you can put in like 3 World Legacies, 3 this, 3 that, and put it up to 50. It's still bricks at the end of the day. Like, what you're actually.
Good cards less.
Exactly, like your impactful ones like Chaos Space, Seyfert, etc. And then that's why you want to keep it at the lower count. And I still believe in Hoban's theory of keeping like the numbers down to like a 39 to 40 ratio. I really do believe in that, but I don't know. I think there's like recent Yu-Gi-Oh has turned into like add more bricks into your deck, and personally I don't like it. For me it's like 1 brick in my deck is all I can do.
Yeah, so like kind of like, so here's an example. So when I was playing Prank Kids, I was already playing 40 cards, right? But I was like, hey, like I'm already maxing out on like almost all my hand traps. And like I was maxing out on hand traps. I was missing 1 Prank Kids card, right? But like adding that like 41st and 42nd Prank Kids card like ups your percentage so high, and it kind of gives you kind of like the change to the percent that your hand traps go down is like under 1 or 2%. So like for me, like in that situation, it was kind of appropriate to put more cards in my deck, but I wasn't adding bricks, for example. I was adding more like cards to up my percentage, even though I was playing more cards. It really comes down to like how you run the numbers, right? And your reasoning behind your changes in your deck.
Knowing what cards actually, like exactly. What are the roles of your cards? Like people oftentimes like use the word garnet a lot. Oh, this card is a garnet. Actually know what a garnet is before just labeling a card a garnet, because like there's different things that you can do for different scenarios with certain cards. So really know the purpose of your cards. Like, is it an extender? Is it a starter? Is it both? Is it an actual garnet? Is it
an awkward extender?
Is it exactly? And like weird time, and that's what people don't know. People think like when they play Dragon, I'm gonna draw Chaos Space, Safer, Black Metal all the time. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, I don't know if anyone saw my top 4 against Senna. It was literally a Pisty attack directly, dude. Like, Pisty was putting in work. So you don't draw the most optimal hands, and we got hand trapped in between. So people need to like understand like the roles of their cards a bit better, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I definitely agree. Yeah, the term garnet is just overused at this point. People
Absolutely.
use it to describe any card that they just don't like drawing.
Mm-hmm. But then the only actual garnets are literally like Red Eyes and fucking Dark Magician.
And let me
exactly.
The Ultimate Wizard is no longer my friend, and the Ferocious Dragon with a deadly attack is also not my friend anymore. I've read their attacks all weekend. I'm done, bro.
I don't remember if people I don't know if people remember back in like when Trickstar was a popular deck and you were playing a deck with Brilliant Fusion and you would normal summon Garnet.
It was so good
off for the whole game.
Yeah.
How are they outing that?
Yeah.
Just don't special monster.
Exactly, and even in that situation, like Garnet still had some applicability. What's Red Eyes and Dark Magician doing besides being level 7 in your hand?
Those are true Garnets for sure. True Garnets.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like I said, like those cards are just like turn-offs. They're like turnaways, especially if like you think you're better than everyone. Like you just would rather have the opportunity to play than like add more power.
Power has to come along with consistency. If you're doing one and not the other, it does not work. So key tip of the day, do both. Know the role of your cards. That's all I can say.
The Darren fun fact.
Well, it's funny because exactly, because I've been taking a break from Yu-Gi-Oh and I haven't been playing as frequent, but like from time to time I'll look at cards and I'll try to like reinvent my deck and figure out what the format is, and like it's really, for me, it's really fun just figuring out what cards are and things like that. So I don't know. I like figuring out, like, the gameplay is definitely fun, but I think before you can advance to the gameplay section, like, know your cards and know what they do, instead of, like, you know, we watch these deck profiles and we're like, oh, he played this and this is what we got to play too. Like, no, you got to be a step ahead of it.
Most people who watch deck profiles just try to copy whatever like did well, instead of like to build their deck to beat what just happened. And like
my boy Landon, aka I was like, I'm not gonna do this to him. I'm not gonna do this, Landon. That's totally you. I'm totally calling you out because you're not here.
We need. If he would have been here, he could have, rebutted it. But I guess.
Yeah, you got to build your deck to like beat.
Yeah, bro, because 3 Noctovision is not the way. I don't care what he says.
Nocto is nuts when you draw, but when you draw only Nocto, that's when you.
Oh my god! Yeah,
that's when you know you've gone wrong.
Exactly.
All right, guys. I think it's about that time that we start wrapping up. But before we do, we have some cues, and we also have a little segment that we should do here, where we just kind of quickly go over what we think the best decks are. I don't think this needs to turn into a discussion. Just like go one by one. Just like best deck, second best deck, third best deck. Go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, everybody.
So we're gonna put these into sections. We're gonna go with tier 1, tier 1.5, and tier 2, based upon the decks that are most represented right now. And in this pool, I kind of want to discuss this real quick. I do think that we should. So we have Tri-Brigade, we have DIEtron, we have Dragonling, we have the Phantom Knight deck, Virtual World,
Mutants.
honorable mention.
Yes. Cosmos. Make sure to put that in there too.
Altergeist.
Altergeist.
Yeah.
Eldritch.
Make sure that gets in there. Eldritch. Yep.
Eldritch is very popular.
PK.
All the trap decks. Yeah. Gravekeeper.
Oh.
Make sure.
Yeah.
So like, okay,
one,
so what would you guys put for tier 1? We'll go. How many do you guys want to put? Like 3 in each category?
yeah, we'll put 3 in each category.
Put 3. So what do you guys think is tier 1?
So for me, I have the good old Dragonlink, good old DIEtron, and Tri-Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are easily tier 1 to me.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Hold on, Darren's
Wait,
thinking.
Darren's hella thinking hard on this. Like,
He's
I
like,
see
fuck
the
Tri-Brigade.
dots on Messenger.
no, he's
over here.
like, but yeah, I'm
He's
just waiting
typing,
for it,
he's
you know.
typing.
He's like,
I
but
don't know. I think it's, like, you know, you have your DIEtron, Okay, I'll agree with that.
yeah, you know, like it can change later on, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is
like
just this is what our current thoughts for this week are.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly, I think you guys are right here. I think while DIEtron is kind of a deck that loses to a lot of interruptions, it is a deck that you still have to respect and stays at tier 1 because of its power and its high ceiling.
ability to just be able to herald too, like even if you get like dark rulered or dropleted, like
yeah, and its ability to play talents is just crazy. Yeah, definitely a good deck.
What 3 decks you guys think are 1.5?
I'll let Darren go first on this one because I'm gonna have a completely different answer.
Yeah.
Okay. My 3 is Invoke Shaddoll Dogmatica.
Okay.
Virtual World.
Ooh.
Sky Striker.
What is the other one? I would say PK. I think there's been more PK that's being played. So I think PK or like, I don't know. I think PK. Those are 3. So virtual. Yeah.
So you said Virtual World, PK,
Invoke Dog.
and Invoke Dog, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like Invoke Dog could be like a mix of like Outlich, or it could be like, you know, a back row deck, or like Altergeist. I don't know. Like those always vary, but
yeah. So I have similar except for one. So I do agree on the PK. I agree on the not the Invoke.
Which is like
Virtual World. My third deck on 1.5, in my opinion, and I think it's because a lot of people aren't playing it because it's not really chance to, is I low-key think that Prank Kids is 1.5.
I forgot about that deck.
Yeah, and I think Crossout makes that deck really, really good, and I think it has the same, like, I guess, yeah, I mean, I think it still has like the same like energy of like it still can play around like some hand traps that they draw like the field spell and stuff too. But the fact that that deck sometimes loses to one hand trap makes it so that like Crossout makes it more impact on that deck.
I'm just shocked that deck isn't seeing more play. I'm actually shocked. I don't know if it's because people don't like it. I don't think because you only made one meow once per turn anyways. So like I don't get it.
It just hurts the grind game as well.
Yeah.
I think
I want to hear Tristan's answer.
so. I agree. Virtual World and the Phantom Knights or whatever, the brick deck. But then there's the real tier 1.5 deck, bro. The answer.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
I know.
Oh my god, bro! You have never been put through a world until you sat down against 32 trap cards.
I have. It's called Red Reboot.
And honestly, like as we're saying, like 3 decks, right? It becomes very hard because like we all agree that like Virtual World and PK are like 2 like guarantee, but like the 3rd deck is like the hardest one to put in, right? Because you can put so many decks in this category.
Because I agree with you guys. I agree with you both that those are actually Danny. I'll be real. I don't think Print Kits is even like. I think it's a tier 2 deck at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just don't know why we're not seeing it. I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't understand, but
it's because like why would you play a 1-card deck like that when you could play like a 1-card like better deck?
Oh, like we did it last format and it was one of the best, and we used 1 meow that we only summoned once per turn.
It's also because they had a grind game like after the next turn, right? Like their follow-up is really hard to do if they get like outed in some sort of way.
I know. I just still don't. I know everyone sees the impact of it. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Someone like tell me. Someone PM me and tell me why 1 meow hurts the deck and it's not being played. I just don't understand.
Yeah, comment down below in the comment section.
We're doing our Discord. Everything. Yeah. Let us know. Let us know why you hate Prank Kids.
Yeah. What do y'all think? What do y'all think for 3?
I agree with Tristan's on the outlook. Because back row decks are nasty.
Scary. They can be scary.
Yeah, like
Solemn Strike is a good card.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of trap cards are good cards.
Oh, look at all that purple.
Yeah. Trap cards do tend to be more powerful than monsters or spells, just on a general level.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I have something. Like, so did you guys heard Hoban's interview and like what he said about that? So like Sam just said that. You know what I'm gonna say? I knew it.
Wait, so what did Hoban say?
As soon as Sam said it, bro, I was like, hey, yo.
The first thing he was about was Hoban, and I was like, oh man. So like Hoban was talking about like, because they asked him why he doesn't play trap decks, and he goes, because in my mind the way that it's listed is monsters are your most powerful, followed by your spells, and traps are your weakest. And that's where I was like, oh, Sam said the opposite. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think I do agree with him. I think more of what I was trying to say is that in a vacuum, when you're thinking of it like traps going first just tend to be on a level of like Solemn Strike. There's no monster card that can contend with Solemn Strike, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like and traps tend to be designed like that because they are inherently worse, and I think the creators of the game know that. Yep. And I totally agree with Hoban here. Traps are pretty bad. Like, traps are not optimal to play in your deck unless they're traps like Imperm or
they resolve,
or even like floodgates.
They're not as they're powerful depending like floodgates are. Like certain floodgates are.
Like rivalry,
right? Yeah, rivalry goes crazy.
Yeah.
Skill drain full.
The skill drain's at 1 still.
Imperial Order. Yeah.
Roll oppression's banned.
Oh yeah.
the card's real good.
Yeah, that card might be a little bit too good. Might be a little bit.
And for tier 2, what are you guys thinking?
So for me, like that's where I put like those other decks that we were talking about. Like for me, it would be the Invoke Shadal and the Print Kid.
Altergeist.
Player Beast. Yeah, I know, man.
Those
Heroes.
decks, that's where kind of is those.
No, but let's talk about like the best tier 2 deck, Madolche, guys. That's
okay. I will say this. Instead of saying what the best tier 2 deck, what do you guys think is the best rogue deck at the moment?
Oh, and that happens to be one of our questions of the day, Daniel. Oh. From our friend Ian Powell here on Discord, we have, what do you believe to be the better performing rogue decks of this format?
So I want to start off with one of them, and this is because I have seen this so much, especially at locals, and there's like discussion, a lot of theory behind it. Is I low-key still think that one of the best rogue decks in the format is like the Eldritch version, but like the pure zombie version. Like as a rogue deck, Tristan, that is a meta deck if you're playing like the I'm talking about like a rogue.
So you mean like zombie world,
like zombie
Doom
world
King
with like yes, like Ballardrock and stuff. I think it's a really good stun deck.
Hey, it is. I'm not gonna change your mind here. I
don't agree with you.
I
don't agree with you.
No, I have a list right now on my dueling book. I played it.
Okay, I still don't agree.
I know which person Daniel's talking about.
Me too. I don't agree with you.
I don't think it's a tier 2 deck, to be honest.
Come on, guys. Like, I think the real rogue deck here is fucking Plunder Patrol.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Plunder and Madolche.
Oh my god.
Plunder is a locals destroyer.
Plunder just got third top 4 at the Extravaganza this weekend. Did you guys know that?
Wait, really?
Yeah. And this guy bodied every fucking Drytron he saw.
Yeah, lights. Like, it beats light and dark decks easily.
If you don't know, the fusion monster negates monster effects and then searches. And then the dark Xyz, you pitch, you banish a monster, and then you search.
Yeah, you can't grind with that deck. That deck is just.
And it doesn't target.
But it's like Alter guys. Like once the engine gets going, like it's really hard to stop.
It's hard.
Yeah, that deck.
You better be top decking like a dark ruler, bro. Like
when Danny and I were playing it, we were playing it in the wrong format because we were trying to play against Earth decks. And like, I don't know if you've ever played the Plunder Patrol deck. But the Plunder Patrol deck has like no good Earth targets. So
we started. The reason why we started playing Plunder is because Shadal became super popular. Remember?
Right. Yeah.
And that matchup was so good for us.
Yeah, Mork is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was So I don't know, like that was it's a good rogue. I think that's like one of the best rogue options. That and Madolche, because Madolche can play like D Shifter and Hoot Cake and the
goes in match.
So silly. That deck is so silly.
Herald of the Orange Light, trap cards.
I'm just too biased towards heroes.
Let's not forget Sky Striker.
Right?
Yeah, new cards coming out.
Sam loves Sky Striker.
Coming out.
I just think Striker is just like usually so free. Like, like honestly, like if you think about like every deck in the format, right?
Hold
like,
on.
yeah.
I think. No, but I think with the new cards coming out, I wonder what they're gonna be. I'm curious. I think
That's
like it
true,
might be.
yeah.
It could change everything.
Spell cards that you can activate from hand. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Activate? No, dude. I hope it's like activate
hand spells.
Spell from your fucking.
Activate from deck.
Oh my god.
Activating the effect from your deck as if it had 3 spells engraved. Oh my god.
Could you imagine if they got a Striker spell that says when you activate a Sky Striker spell, you can send this card to the graveyard and copy the effect?
Oh, like a spellbook of masters. Ew, that's gross. That's gross.
But that would make me play the deck.
Yeah.
There's some really cool cards coming out. Like I know we're not going to talk about it because I don't actually know them off the top of my head. But like Blue Eyes, DDD, Sky Striker. Like there's like some decks that just got a huge boost up. So we'll save that for next time.
Next podcast we'll have a big Bode discussion coming out with the set coming out in the first week of November.
That's gonna be a big podcast.
Yeah, and we have a lot to talk about. We've already been testing, and we know a lot of different decks that are going to be coming out. So
Ghost Trick is going to be sick. Pick up your Ghost Trick now.
Don't even get me started on Penguins, bro.
Pick up your Ghost Trick now. Sponsored by Halloween.
All right, guys. But before we end this podcast, we have another question from the Discord. How how do you guys keep each other? Oh, sorry. This question is from Joseph Y. How do you guys keep each other not only at your current skill level, but constantly improve yourselves and keep each other to keep up with the new, ever-changing meta and push to be the best?
I think Tristan and Darren have a really good answer to this.
This is definitely a Tristan and
Darren. Would you like to go first, or should I?
Tristan, go for it. Tristan. No, I want to hear Tristan.
It's your turn, Tristan.
I want to hear Tristan first.
Hold on.
I vote Tristan too.
Yeah, because Darren's talked quite a bit, so let's hear Tristan first.
Fine. That's fine. So I'm gonna pull up the question first. I'm gonna read it very slowly. One sec. Okay, so I think the biggest thing between like us, like the four of us, like when we're testing just with each other, is that we're pretty honest about where we mess up. And I know
sorry, for those who are listening, can you clarify who us is?
Yeah, who the four?
Sorry, so Darren, Danny, Landon, and I. I know that. So Darren and I are very opposite-minded during deck building, and I think that's kind of really what helps us, is because we're able to like elaborate on different views on what we should do. And I think that's also like our biggest thing that we have, right? Is that we all four of us bring something different to the table. Not only do we bring something different to the table, but when we mess up, we have to be brutally honest about it, because that is the only way to improve at this game. For example, Landon the other night was talking about, I have game anyway. Why does it matter if I sequence like this? And it's like, well, you don't know. You don't know what he has. You're just thinking he has nothing because we're sitting here letting you combo. Like, you don't know, bro. Like, what if he nibs you? Then guess what? You lost because you chose not to sequence correctly. And then guess what? We're going to have to sit here and hear you scream about, I got blah, 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 this happened. And it's like, no, it's those little things. And that's those little things is what we call out each other on. And I know we have very, I know especially Danny, Darren, and I, we all have different deck building.
Yeah,
very different
deck building.
I don't agree with Danny's most of the time. And I'm honest.
That's fine. Okay.
And with Darren, I relate a lot deck building wise, I think, but there are two major differences where sometimes we will stray differently. But I think what makes us so good is that at the end of the day, we understand that it's just freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it's not a big deal to, blow up on each other or get frustrated at each other. And I think that's really and that's the greatest thing I think about our little testing group is that, and also that we if we're not doing well, we call each other out on it. Hey, okay, maybe we got to stop playing games and we need to go back to testing and seeing where to hand trap people. Maybe it's, and we don't just play games to set those scenarios up. Okay. Like, we'll put up the scenario, then we'll see, okay, like Darren, like I was having a problem getting drolled. Okay, so Darren's like, okay, we're going to do 15, 20 hands tonight of you getting drolled. And it's not fun. And that's what people don't realize is like those part of the nights, like it's literally just us doing that and joking around a little bit and us doing that and joking around. And that's kind of just, because it's boring. It's boring, but we're getting the information we need. Like, I already know that we're going to start be doing that for post-bode, because we got to know if we only have this one hand trap, okay, where do we hand trap them that works out most of the time? Okay, now we got to do it with two hand trap. And there's just so many different decks coming that these next few weeks is going to be very important for our testing. And who knows, we possibly could still be playing this Dragon or DIEtron or whatever it is, because we haven't tested it yet, Yep. And I think that's that answers part of it. Let me see if there's another part. And improve. So the thing about the ever-changing meta and pushing to be the best, because the four of us all have the same goal of winning events. Mm-hmm. Like, we all want to be YCS champions. We all want to go to Nat. We all want to top Nats. We all want to go to Worlds. Like, this is engraved in us. Like, we're all like-minded like this, and we're not willing to let each other like fall far down away from the hole. We're willing to like help bring each other up, and I think that's what makes it really easy for us, especially as a group, especially as they're for me, like I always quote that they're kind of like my foundation. Like, without them, I'm not the player that I am. Yeah. If it wasn't for the Landon reporting to us, telling us things, if it isn't for Danny telling me, hey, like, did you know that these kind of road decks are popping up now and this is going on? Hey, you need to know at least like this little interaction with the Beat Trooper deck, because you need to at least know if you play against it, guess what? It ends on this. And
Yeah.
guess what? When I played against that deck, I was like, oh, Danny told me it ends on like a towers with a negate and a trap card, so this matchup's free. and then Darren's, you know, with the meta stuff, and Darren's really crucial on the deck building aspect. And I did sway away from like when we were going back and forth about Dragoon, I did sway away from it, but obviously I'm wrong. And I was the one who lived with the consequence with it. So, I mean, like, that's where we'll have to go back and forth on the differences. And, you know, sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. I was wrong, and that's fine, because I know that with this, we're going to learn from this, and that's going to just make sure we're moving forward with our goals of winning YCSs, winning the tournaments we're entering at Luxury, which you guys should be entering, and stuff like that. Darren, what do you think?
Okay, sorry, I was just reading the question again. So he says, starts off by saying, how do you guys keep each other not only at your current level, but constantly improve yourselves and each other to keep up? Okay, so yeah. So the first part of that is like, you know, the current skill level. I think when it comes to current skill level, it's if you have like a general idea of the game, like I don't think that you can be bad, to be honest with you. If you like understand like where the current game is at and like your reads are good, I think this game is all about reads, whether it's reading your opponent, reading the meta, reading your cards, which is huge. Like just like I think making like, you know, key vital pivotal reads is like super important, and that's what makes you good in like the current format. And like, to be honest with you, you can be good at the current format just by watching deck profiles. Like if you watch deck profiles of like people who top, you like, I think Tristan said this before, like you could go to like a locals and probably win or top a YCS with that, right? But like that's never been my mentality behind it. Like my mentality has always been different, same with Tristan and Danny and Landon too. So like we look into things a lot more. And then the second part, like for example, since the YCS I've been on a break, right? And like I always joke with Tristan guys that I'm retiring, and not that I am, but I always just say that like, oh, you know, I'm in retirement, I'm enjoying it. It's just more so because like I right now the game has been the same and stale. So like, and I've just been busy with my own life and doing things. So but like I still always know what's happening in the game, and like all I need to do is watch like a few profiles. Actually, the thing that really motivated me was watching Hoban's interview. I thought that was like, because it just got me thinking about like cards again, and rather than like looking at things like as just playing, like it made me like reanalyze the game and like cards specifically, and like that kind of got me back into like looking at my Dragonling deck. And because like I felt like everyone's Dragonling decks were all the same, that all had the same problems, and I was like, oh, this is so boring. But then I listened to Hoban and it kind of helped me out a bit. So yeah, so there's that. And then constantly improve yourselves and others and each other to keep up with the ever-changing meta and to push to be the best. Okay, yeah, did you want to say something? You can say add something first.
Real quick. Yeah, and I think to the second part of that question that you asked, is that we don't really like scream and rage at each other. Like I know that's really common in gaming communities, and I know in my past groups that's always been an issue, is raging and screaming at each other over misplays and stuff. But like you can't do that. Like if you want, like who is gonna learn with someone screaming at their face? What's the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna get mad, you're gonna scream back. Like the thing is like
wasting time.
You know, it's pointless. Like to Darren and Landon and I, we were all discussing about a play we want to make, and then I'm just like, hey guys, why don't we do this? Like I just threw it out, and it might have not been the best play, but it's like we just want to know all our options. You know what I mean? And they weren't mad. They were just like, no, we don't think it's good because of this and this. And then I was like, oh wait, maybe it will be good because we can go into this. And then it's like, actually, no, let's not do that because then we're committing too much to the board. And you know, a lot of, and that's just how we discuss. Like there's not a lot of screaming, raging, yelling. It's really respectful.
We have more disagreements than anything when it comes to like Tristan was saying, deck building, card choices. like this whole thing about like identifying roles and cards is something that like I started valuing a lot since watching Hoban's interview. So I started like using that a lot more to like Tristan guys, and I would constantly say it. And then like because of how Yu-Gi-Oh's changed and everyone not thinking that Hoban's theories are still relevant, I think like we tend to like lean towards whatever information is given out there. And I think this is going to lead to my like point about that, which is like, don't believe everything that's out there and think that's set in stone. Like continue to like challenge yourself and challenge the ideas that are like currently present, because like, you know, if someone's saying that you have to, like the most easily misperception in my opinion is that you have to play 3 of a card. Don't think that you have to play 3 of a card because you want to see it. Like when I first started Yu-Gi-Oh, my perception of that was like, if I want to see a card, I'll play 2 of it. If I don't care about seeing multiples of it in my hand, I'll play 3 of it, right? And then obviously that's a change that's evolved over time, and like now it's kind of been like, oh, you know, you play 3 of a card to see it, right? But at the same time, it's like, don't just think that it's like set in stone or like that's the way. Because I know when we watch profiles, you're like, yeah, I play 3 of this card because I want to see it. Yeah, I play 3 of this because, you know, you have to play 3 of that. Like always like challenge things and always think along the way. Yeah. Like always challenge things, right? Like don't just accept. And like I think another interesting conversation that Tristan and I had was when we were talking about numbers, and then he's like, yeah, 70%, 80%, right? Because we were looking at like our deck ratios of what they meant. And then I asked Tristan, I'm like, yeah, but like what does 80% mean? What does 70% mean? Like, don't just go based off of like numbers. Know like what the meaning behind those numbers are. Like look for the meaning behind like what does a 70% ratio of opening a 1 card, is that good? Is that bad? Like when we look at statistics, right? Like I'm a psych major, I have my master's in psychology, and like when you look at statistics in general, you want to know what the significant number is when you look at like stats, right? So a lot of time, like in theory, 70% sounds good, but like 70% of what? Like what exactly is that trying to like weigh, right? So like even and then you have to take into account hand traps, bricks. Like there's so many little subcategories that I think like you should have. Try not to do it alone. I know sometimes I tend to, and then I get frustrated and I go to Tristan guys. Don't do it alone. Have conversations with like friends and talk about it so that you have more brains working at it. When it's just your own brain, sometimes I overstimulate myself and I burn out that way. So yeah, that's how you push yourself. I think you push yourself. My biggest thing is like, don't believe what's out there. Do your own thing. Believe in your cards. Believe in your deck. Believe in your logic behind doing things. Yeah, exactly. Believe in the heart of the cards, as Tristan and Tien say. Just believe in your logic, right? Like if you have good, solid, sound logic behind doing something, stick to that. Like don't always like believe what's out there. And use your own mind. Like it's fine. Like I have people ask me all the time, like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? If I try explaining that to you, you're not going to get it. So figure it out yourself. That's what I would say.
Agreed.
All right. So what I'm kind of getting from this is we just need to be honest with ourselves, reasonable with others, respectful to our opponents. And at the end, you need to challenge yourself to be a better person. And I think with that, we can bring this podcast here to an end. Does anyone have any closing thoughts or shout outs?
Yeah. You go first. You can go first, Danny.
All right. Again, shout out to our sponsors, Imperium Duelist. Shout out to our partners, Celestial Gaming. Also, for me, a huge shout out to the community who keeps coming in and answering all these questions. I appreciate you guys. We'll also be going more in depth on a lot of these discussions, including like the Dragon Links and other stuff throughout this week with Tristan and Darren and Landon. We might have some other Genesis members also join us. So if you guys want to cash that out, then feel free to check us out.
Yeah, shout outs to Genesis. As always, shout out to our sponsors, as Danny said. Shout out to the foundation, always. And, the biggest thing, guys, is join the Discord. If you have any questions about the game, I know that we always in the Twitch we get a lot of people asking us specifically, like Danny, Darren, and I, questions like nonstop. If you want those questions answered, feel free to join us at our Discord. It's the easiest way. We'll get back in touch with you when we can. I know I answered a lot of questions with someone about Dragonlink and DIEtron and a bunch of other things in the Discord. So if you have questions like that, feel free to ask us questions there. We're free to chat with you guys when we can, and it's really cool to see where your guys' thought process is and differentiate from us.
Right? Differentiate. Yeah.
There we go.
English is hard. It's okay,
dude. Yeah. But yeah, it's good to see where, like, with theory wise, and we can go back and forth and see the differences. Even I have to do that with like other people, and I always have a bunch of questions. So if you guys have any of those for us, well, feel free. We're in the Discord. If you have any more podcast questions, you can leave it in the Discord. We'll do those at the next podcast. And yeah, that's everything for me.
Yeah, and thank you for watching and all that.
Or listening. They could just be having it in the background.
Yeah. Audio listeners, we love you. We love you. We love you.
But yeah.
All right, guys. Oh,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to close it out. If you got something, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say real quick, just thank you to everybody that listens. And without you guys, we're really trying to create this community for you guys, so you guys can have something to get on and listen to a nice podcast on the way to work. And like, these guys put a lot of work into their logic and testing and everything. So it's not just something that we're trying to give to you guys out of nowhere. Like, these guys work really, really hard, and I sit there and I watch it, and I think this is something that needs to be shared with everybody. So yeah, shout out to the guys.
Shout out to every player on Team Genesis, guys. All right, we will see you next week on, or sorry, is it
next time? Just say yes. Next time. It's fine.
Yeah. All right, guys. We will see you. We will see you next time on Genesis Podcast Episode 3. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube if you're watching us there. If you're watching us on Twitch, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Genesis Gaming. We will see you next time. Peace.
Bye.